What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mongols. This is our Riverhounds and Riveters Show. Joining us tonight is a man who's been pivotal to the rocket-like ascent of the Riverhounds organization. He's been at the wheel as the club continues to aim higher and higher with no end in sight. It is club president Jeff Garner. Jeff, welcome back to the show, my friend.
Thank you so much. It is great to be here for maybe my third, maybe even fourth time over the past couple of years. So really appreciate being here. And I think I'm going to write down rocket-like ascent.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I'm going to put that in my email signature.
Listen, man, it's true.
Profile.
When we think back to when you got here, it has been that like hockey stick that everybody talks about in business in terms of the types of things that we've been doing. First of all, we've been congratulating everybody on the championship. So congrats to you, sir. This is your second in 5 years, right?
It is, one in the East and one in the West.
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe you were the only guy that could claim that you have 2 in 5 years, but I think it's Patrick Rakowski or Rakowski is the keeper that you guys had.
He was our goalkeeper in Orange County. Yeah, definitely from a front office or I guess president role. I think I am. I have to admit I did not research it, but I think so. But yeah, Patrick was on that Orange County team in 21.
All right, so what's the secret? How do you keep doing it, man?
You know what? It's probably will be a boring answer, but it really is people, right? It's like we've been able to put together really good people in both places, Orange County and now here in Pittsburgh. It's been great people on the business side and on the fan-facing side, and it's been really good people on the sporting side as well. And it is a really hard thing to do. In both championship years, if you would have asked me, do you have a championship team? I would have shrugged my shoulders and said, I have no idea. So it just tells you in a league like this where there's, teams are so closely matched. And I think over the years, they've gotten closer and closer. Like even the teams at the bottom of the table aren't bad, right? Every game matters. Every game counts. It just shows you that it's never over. And sometimes even if you're not the best team, if you're the hottest team going into the playoffs, you can win a championship. And we did it both years that way. And it's so exciting for the fans and for the staff and certainly for the players. So I'm glad to be working on a ring design for the second time in 5 years.
Hey,
well, that's exciting to think about. But before getting into that, state expansion, that's been huge on everyone's mind. We kind of saw the renderings of it. We know what it's going to look like or what the plans are. How's that going? Do we have any more timeline information? Like, when should we expect the stadium to look like a construction zone? Like, I'm just curious what that's looking like.
So it is like any project like this. There's lots of, ups and downs and weaving and turning. And I was fortunate enough to be part of a new stadium construction way back with a baseball team in State College. I've done some stadium renovations before. First and foremost is the funding, right? We have to make sure that we have a plan for funding, that we can pay for it. We need support as a private-public partnership. And so the public part of that can be quite complex, and there's a lot of different people involved. We're trying to work through that. The delay of the state budget, quite frankly, put us a little bit further back. We're certainly not the number one priority of the state, rightly so. We are on the list, though. And so I think we're, continuing to move forward with sort of all the public pieces of this so we can then sort of finalize whatever the private pieces need to be. Now, that being said, there is still work being done. There's certainly work on the funding side, but in the background, we are operating as if we are expanding. We are operating as if we're Division I in 2028 when the league launches. We are putting in infrastructure. We are starting to hire. We are, fully planning for that. As far as the timeline goes, I don't have a firm timeline yet. As soon as we have the funding nailed down, I think then the timeline gets really firm really quickly. We have a couple different models. I will say the one thing that's probably changed because of the delays that we've had, which again is kind of normal in these circumstances, is that we have to consider more aggressive construction timelines. We just have to. And so originally, let's have 3 phases. We'll use we'll use off seasons. We'll be able to get everything done in between. I don't know that we're going to be able to do that if we want to open in 2028. I think one of the questions is how much needs to be done by 2028. We're, again, moving forward with one of the minimum standards being 15,000 seats. That's what it needs to be by 2028. There are some ways, depending on how far along we are, that maybe it actually gets pushed to 2029. But again, our goal is 2028. We're trying to work towards that. We are planning for that. It's all very positive. We're moving it. We haven't hit any real knock on wood, big obstacles. It's just the complexity of it all. So I expect we'll have some more timing news probably, well, I don't know when, soon. Let's say a month or two, probably. I think we'll get a better idea of that. And let's just face it, 2028 is approaching. There just has to be some development if it's going to move forward. And so I think that's what you can expect to see is more news coming soon, very positive, and we're ready to get going on it.
One thing you said there, you said off season, ideally it would be off season construction. Right. Have you thought about like what in season construction could mean in terms of how it might look?
We've had to. I mean, we just have had to consider, every option. And so, yeah, there is a path where we would play somewhere else locally potentially for a year and do all the construction at one time.
Oh, wow.
We may be able to break it up over 2 off seasons and maybe sort of shortened home schedules where maybe we play a little bit more on the road in the spring and a little bit more on the road in the fall if we have to extend that construction time. We're looking at every possibility so that we're prepared for whatever the answer ends up being.
Wow. Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, preference, the preference is, I think, what we originally laid out. That's what we wanted to do. But, I think, Tuffy is certainly very dead set, as are all of we, on going Division I, on building the stadium and expanding and taking this all to the next level. So we're going to be aggressive to do that, whatever that takes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Jeff, we tried to get you on a few weeks ago, and Grubba said no. He was like, no, he said no because you were gone that week or something like that for working on something. And I don't know if it was stadium or something like that, but I've gotten the sense that like there's a lot of other things happening as well. And I think some of the evidence of that is that this is kind of the first year where I feel like there is something big for every home game on the promotional schedule. And so I guess maybe could you talk us through what fans should expect with changes to what we're seeing like on game day and just like around the club as all of this continues to develop?
Yeah. It's actually sort of related to expansion because the last couple of years we've been able to do some larger scale changes, right? We've put new turf in, new LED sideline boards, new LED stadium lights. We redid, sort of freshened up the grandstand seating. We've done more signage and branding. So over the past couple of years, we've been able to do all of that. It gets really challenging to figure out what physical infrastructure you want to invest in when it may not be there in 2 years and it may be torn out and switched with something else. And so we've tried to be very careful. One of the areas that we've looked at that can be developed more, and quite frankly, it was a disappointment last year where what ended up becoming of it was that back corner that was a kids area at one time. It sort of expanded past that. So we moved that out into the tailgate zone and created the crossbar sort of idea. Never really got close to what we wanted it to be. Probably the playoffs was maybe the closest it got. We added some more food out there. So we're actually bringing in sort of a smaller Connex container bar area, some more seating, like trying to make that, different menu items, just trying to freshen that up. So that is one physical infrastructure thing that you'll see is that the crossbar will be different and upgraded and better. And quite frankly, it'll really serve the Riverside to some extent, but really the supporter section is probably who's going to be able to use that the most. And yes, we'll continue to provide a facility, a bathroom facility out there. It won't be the most glamorous, but we did it last year and we'll continue to have something available out there. So you mentioned the promotional schedule. I think that's where we've tried to focus a little bit more on the things that we're doing. And so the things that have worked really well over the past couple of years, post-game fireworks has worked really well. People seem to enjoy it. We've added more fireworks shows. We brought back the July 4th tradition, which had been away for a couple of years, and we brought that back. We actually used that as one of our guaranteed games, so we wanted to make sure we were home, and so you get the city fireworks. Nice. The dollar beers pre-match have continued to get very popular, and so we've added a few more of those this year too. Then the other games, it's sort of a mix of different things. There's a couple cool blockbusters movies coming out. So we tried to tie some of our promotions and themes to some of those blockbusters, whether it's Peanuts or The Odyssey or Austin Powers. There's a couple different ones. And those are just fun, right? They're enjoyable. It's something different, especially for season ticket holders that come to 17 home games. Like, what's different tonight? Well, those are kind of the things that will make it seem a little bit different. I also think we came up with a couple good collectible items, and I'm purposely not calling them giveaways. I think giveaways to me are maybe a little bit more like a magnet schedule that we'll do, at the first game, and maybe a rally towel here and there. Those are giveaways. Collectibles, brand new ammo bobblehead this year. We'll do a collectible ring replica, which will be more of a display piece, not a wearable piece. And then the one that I might be the most excited for, because it embraces the culture of the stadium, is the hype train figurine. I mean, I giggled myself when they brought the idea up. And I just thought, that's awesome. Like, what a cool part of the stadium and the experience, and to sort of immortalize that in a figurine is pretty cool. So we've got some of those collectibles. Another one that personally I can't say I'm overly excited about, but I think our fans are, is Pups on the Pitch. Other teams have done it. I'm have a complicated relationship with dogs. It's something that our fans asked about, our fans wanted. Other teams have done it. I've done it before at other stops along my career. It is really fun and enjoyable and something different. Now, I know the other side of that is, well, what about the cats? When can the cats come? It's not totally off it's probably off the table for this year, but it's not off the table for the future. I have nothing against cats. We're not choosing sides here. So.
I mean, but the reality is we are the Riverhounds.
I'm sticking with that one. And then the other one I would mention is that at the home opener, we're going to do our championship banner reveal, which is awesome. And we're going to do a replica banner for fans as well. So you've got this great mix of sort of fun themes and just creative and different, and collectibles, some giveaways, pups at the pitch, fireworks. It's something different for everybody. And our fan base is so diverse with the types of people that come to games and what they're trying to get out of it. So that's always our challenge. The other thing I would say is, from a staffing standpoint, our staff, first of all, has been really great this offseason. Kind of like what's happened on the pitch. We've got this great core of staff that have been here that I've actually been able to be less involved in. I really haven't been overly involved in the promotional schedule at all. Chris Brown in our marketing department, really everybody has kind of driven that conversation. That really wasn't the case totally, a few years ago. And so our staff has really stepped up in their departments. Mm-hmm. We also found a couple good opportunities to add talent. And I think that's John Fisher, who, 16 years in as a VP with the Diamondbacks, and Pittsburgh native, wants to come back and be a part of building something here. He's done a really good job. I'm excited for sort of where he's going to help take us. And then Ethan Lounsbury is new. He came from Kansas State. He's our senior director of marketing. And so sort of building with the staff that we have, but then we've actually added, I know that's probably not as sexy for fans, adding staff, but I think what it does, it hopefully points to, and this is sort of the intention by us, it wasn't necessarily a hire for today. Those are hires for tomorrow. Those are hires that understand and have been there at larger stadiums with bigger crowds and more complex systems. And so they can help get us there. And I think you'll see that a lot of the things that we do right now. One of the, some of the stuff that's not visible to fans is some of our technology infrastructure. We are investing now in those kind of things so that we have a really strong foundation. We can't open a new stadium in 2028 and start doing stuff then. We need to do something now, build a foundation and make it scalable. So when we get to 28, we're already running full speed. And let's just be honest, we didn't have all of those resources and some of those pieces in place previously. And those are the kind of things we're putting in, which it's a tremendous amount of work. We've added sort of underlying marketing systems, customer relationship management systems, integrating data between Ticketmaster and Shopify on our merchandise side, and helping to connect so we understand our fan experience better and can deliver better. Those are all the things that, again, they're not on a promotional schedule. Fans will probably won't care, but hopefully their experience will get better because we're putting those things in place.
Yeah, there's a lot in there. I want to follow up on so many things.
No, it's the off season. No big deal.
Yeah, it's all good.
But there's one thing I do want to follow up on, and that's when you were talking about pups on the pitch, and Liz is kind of asking about this as well. Does Ammo know you have a complicated relationship with dogs? And how does that work between the two of you?
There's no ammo allowed in my office. Not gonna happen. I have to shush him out every time he comes in. Yeah. We have fun with it though. Hey, you know what? One thing I actually forgot. I can't believe I forgot this. It seems like it was a long time ago, but it is relevant for this week on Thursday night with the jersey reveals that we've changed our apparel partner. and have moved over to Hummel, who has been a fantastic partner so far. That was a really complicated decision. The challenging part for us is that we have to find somebody who can meet our standards on the professional side, but can also meet our standards on the academy side. And sometimes, some companies are better, stronger, or weaker in different areas. We've had to go with a company that I felt was much stronger on the academy side and deliver a certain level there. But as we'll see on Thursday, we wanted to maintain some creativity. And I think people like that about some of the Charlie jerseys. There's a little bit of tradition in there, but it's a little bit different. There's some, the bridge kit was something totally different. I think that's what people will see on Thursday. Is it's a really good mix of traditional on one end all the way over to what the heck did you guys do? So I think that'll be the reaction. That'll be the reaction to one of them. Half the crowd will say, "What the heck is that?" And the other crowd will say, "I love it." So we'll mark my words. When on Thursday, that'll be the reaction on one of them.
You had mentioned that some of the front office additions aren't something that is interesting. That's actually my next question, was going to ask you about that. But there's something else you said I want to circle back to. You said this is going to be the second championship ring that you get to design. What is that design process like? Like, how do you pick what it looks like? Talk us through that.
If you've ever had to buy a class ring, you have a million different customization choices. It is 100 times that on the championship side. So you have multiple companies, all very competitive, chasing you to try to get the business. They can all do a million different things. Should there be inscriptions on the inside? What kind of stones are they? Do you want your logo? You have a player's name and number, but how else does it fit? Do you represent the city? It's really like designing a jersey. Obviously, you're trying to find a ring that represents the season. Right? That season represents the organization, represents the city, something that people would be proud to wear. And it's I kind of worked through the beginning parts of it, and then we've gotten feedback from lots of different people on what they like, what they don't, what we want to change. And so now we're wrapping that up, and it takes quite a long time to get them all made in here. So that's where we're on that process. But it's anything you can think of, they can do.
You don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but is the ring funded by the USL, or you guys pay out of pocket for it? Oh, you guys pay for it?
Yeah. It's at our cost. Yep.
Yeah.
So everybody will thank Tuffy when they get their beautiful rings, and honestly, these things have all kinds of different price ranges, and Tuffy's been great about saying let's get something that's awesome. So
yeah. Ewan Matusa in the chat asked, what was the D1 application process like? And so this was sort of leaning towards my next question. We obviously know everything about the stadium. You spent a little bit of time talking about bringing in some staff, not building for now, but the future. What else is on that punch list that you have that you're starting to tick things off of, that you're looking to 2028 and you're saying, we got to make sure that we get this stuff taken care of?
Yeah, I guess there's two different parts of that. I think one is the requirements, right? What are the requirements of Division One, which I think are pretty publicly available. We feel like we're in good shape with those. The most difficult being the stadium requirement at 15,000 seats. Obviously, we have a plan to deal with that. There's some ownership structure and net worth questions. There is market size. So there's a few things like that I think we kind of check all those boxes. So that's step one, is those requirements. Then there was the application process, which was very lengthy. It really sort of examines all part of your business and infrastructure, not only now, but what is your plan? What is your business plan for Division One, to make sure that there's stability there? And so we've gone through that process. Staffing is a huge one. Our staff will probably increase by 5 or 6 times on the business side.
Oh, wow.
It'll probably triple in size on the sporting side. Which are all great, really fun, exciting things. Mm-hmm. But again, that's where this infrastructure comes in. You can't just, bring in, 50 more people and not have the infrastructure for them. I honestly, I don't know, because our training center is built and meets standards. The stadium is the biggest piece of that. Otherwise, I feel like we have a lot of the pieces already in place, right? It was really just a matter of trying to summarize all of that and report on it to the league so that they could review it. I feel very confident that when they're ready to release the list of at least the first draft or the first list of Division I names, that I think will probably be on that list. I don't know exactly when that is going to be, but I do think it's soon. I think it's coming. You've seen the USL start to release some information about the league structure, the name of it. So that information is all coming. Right now, we're hopefully trying to finalize the details of promotion relegation and what that looks like. Talk about a challenge. Trying to figure out how to put all of that together. And there's so many different models across the world on ways to do it. And some like the Premier League may have, these huge media rights deals that we don't have. So we can't just take that model and use it, but there's other places like the Scottish Premiership maybe that doesn't have as much media money coming in and is closer to us. So I think the league has done a really good job trying to figure those pieces out with feedback from all of the teams. I feel really good about where we're headed with Division I. It really does come down to the stadium. I think that's going to be our biggest challenge, but we've got a great plan for it and it continues to move forward. So
yeah. You mentioned media, and again, I know there's only so much that you can disclose. You might be able to not disclose anything, but that's something that we've talked about. Is obviously once you get to Division I, one of the big draws is the additional media revenue that hopefully makes it to the teams. If you're talking about 3 times your staff in different areas, you're gonna have a bigger stadium. Has there been any at least inklings of any kind of media deal that a Division I team can expect, or is it still too early for that? Because you have to be thinking, how are we going to pay all these new people if we're planning on taking this leap?
Right. And some of that is part of the business plan that we put together. Again, we've got a lot of infrastructure already in place. Not all teams have. That's one of the reasons I came to Pittsburgh, because a lot of this was here. Yeah. A lot of teams don't have a youth academy. A lot of teams don't have a training facility already. So bigger stadium, more ticket sales equals larger sponsorships, more merchant. Like we will be able to fund a lot of this through those methods. We are not relying on media money. We're not, fingers crossed, we need media money to make this work. We don't. And I don't think any team will rely on it. I don't think there's anything finalized yet. Certainly, I think there are conversations taking place at the league level because they have national rights. Well, really, they have all rights. What has happened previously, if they've done a national rights deal and then they've deferred the local rights to us so we can broadcast. And at the other levels of sports, it's a mixed bag of how that's done. So all of that, I think, will be sorted out. I'm not counting on media money in the first year or 2 or maybe even 3. I do think, there may be, this is changing so rapidly with the way people distribute sports now and streaming and all these different things. There may be a network that says, hey, I want to jump in on this early and be a part of it. It's a unique story, promotion, relegation, all of this, cool. It's new, it's different, but there might not be. And it might take a year or 2 or 3 of the league developing and these matches happening for somebody to say, wait a minute, that is really awesome. I do want to invest in that and I do want to be a part of it. So too early to really say anything specific. I do think there's really incredible value there in storytelling. I think these matches are going to be like, when you get into promotion relegation, these matches are going to mean something. Even if you're not at the top of the table, it means something if you're at the bottom. And I do think there's a lot of value there. I think something will happen. I just don't know when.
Look, Wrexham doesn't happen if there isn't promotion relegation. Like that whole story is like, we're going to make a TV show. The drama is promotion relegation. So there's absolutely opportunity for sure.
Yep. I guess, it would be nice if we had a timeline laid out, right? And they said, well, here's when you're going to get your media money. Again, we're going to plan that we don't have it at the beginning and hope that we do, but we're not going to base our survival on a media rights deal.
Yeah, that's great.
So, I think one of the things that we as fans, that I think everybody's keeping an eye on is the CBA status. And there still isn't nothing, and we're closing in on 2 weeks before first game kickoff. So should we be worried about that first ball getting kicked on March 7th? And if not, why?
Sure. I would just say that I probably won't comment much on this. I think
don't expect you to, but I'm going to ask it.
Yeah, of course. I think, the USLPA, I don't think anybody begrudges them, representing the players and trying to sort of get the best they can for the players. I think that's awesome. I don't think anybody is opposed to that at all. We've chosen to not have this conversation publicly. I think that has changed on their part. I wouldn't even say recently, for quite some time now. So I don't want to get into sort of all of the details. I will say that we are both in good faith, I think, at the bargaining table, having conversations. I don't think we're that far apart. I think it's really devil in the details. It comes down to just trying to work through some of these details, but we are close. As far as I'm concerned, I think we're in a status quo sort of period of time, working off the old CBA while the new one is being developed. I would certainly hope, and I expect us to continue playing while we work through that. Okay. I would be surprised if it went in a different way. But that piece of it's not up to us, I don't think. That wouldn't be something I don't think that the owners would do. So we'll have to see what happens. I have faith in the fact that we're all trying to pull in the same direction here. We all want best for the league, the players, the teams. None of us can survive without each other, right? So we need to find somewhere to meet to make sure that it can all move forward and continue to provide opportunities for these players to play professionally.
Jeff, you've taken like a billion things that you're working on, and we've been able to compress it into about 30 minutes. I'm going to ask you one last question. Out of all of those things that are on your plate right now, what's the one thing that you are most excited to be working on right now?
I mean, that's a really tough question. I mean, coming off of a championship and the excitement that you feel from last season going into this season, and like you said, I was lucky enough to go through this before. It's like the expectations are so much higher. Great, we welcome that. It's because we've done something really amazing. Like the energy of the jersey reveal, of our Meet the Team event coming up in 2 weeks, of the season starting, of our preseason matches. I mean, Dan and Rob and the entire coaching staff have done an amazing job putting the roster together, especially their first time through this. Yeah. I mean, I think we're all sort of very excited about the season. I would tend to probably live in the now as the season approaches, and about how much fun it is and trying to enjoy that. If you look a little bit big picture, the stadium expansion, really, I think of a word like legacy, right? It's something where I feel like that with some of the other stadiums I've worked at. You drive by or you see it in a story or something, you're like, I was a part of building that, right? And certainly not by myself. But it is nice when you can leave a part of yourself in a team or in a stadium that will last and carry on. And so that's really exciting too. So I guess I've got a short term and a long term, but it's all exciting, right? That's what gets me through the day.
Yeah. Well, Jeff, we always appreciate you joining us for what has now become sort of our annual chat, a little check-in to see how things are going. You mentioned you will be at the kit reveal on Thursday?
Absolutely. Right. That's right. Thursday at the Roxy.
That's right. So everyone, make sure that you are there. You have to get a ticket in advance, but make sure you are there. Go say hi to Jeff. Tell him what a great job he's doing. Jeff, otherwise, we always appreciate it. Thank you again for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday night, and we'll see you Thursday.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, and can't wait for the season to start and to see everybody out at the stadium.
Yep. Same.
Excellent.
Thanks,
Jeff.
Thanks. Right, talk to you later. Oh man, Josh, Steve and I were talking last week after talking to Visser, where we were like, we're really in this like unique space where I don't think there's any other club, at least at the USL level, I would assume really anywhere, even at the national level here in the States, that has the type of, or is given the type of access that we are given to talk to these people. And they genuinely, like we were talking with Jeff for like 5 minutes before the show, just like BS'd, like they want to be here. They have a good time chatting with us. So really, really fortunate. Josh, what were some takeaways from that conversation? What do you think?
Yeah, I think the only thing that was like breaking news almost, I don't even know if it's that breaking, because it's more of a maybe if these dominoes don't fall the way that we want, possibly not playing in the stadium if they have to do construction at a condensed timeline, which totally makes sense. I understand. Like, I think everyone would understand that if you're trying to get this stadium built in that short of a time frame. It's just actually hearing it is like, oh, crap. Yeah, that would be weird. That would suck. Like, where are we gonna play? We can't play at Montour. Like, it would have to be a place that actually has seating. So
like 5,000 seats.
Yeah. So I'm like, are they renting out one of the college stadiums or Heinz or Acrisure or something like that? Which I would think so. That seems like a terrible idea.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I'm sure that there's all sorts of contingencies and they would have to get waivers and things like that, because whether or not you would still have to meet the standards of the championship. So you'd still have to have a minimum number of seats.
I mean,
and
maybe
whether or not
you could have a waiver,
but
probably.
That's what I'm saying is maybe it's a waiver. So maybe it's a high school thing. Maybe it's a Ambrose Field thing. Steve, what are your thoughts?
Drive down to Washington.
Back to the Wild Things days. 2006, I believe, is when they played at the Wild Things Stadium.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Steve, what'd you think?
I mean, talking to Jeff is always a lot of fun. And I think like this is a good example of that. There's political Jeff that's not answering the question. Yeah. Then there's like freewheeling Jeff that's like, oh, let me tell you about all these things that you didn't even know you wanted to know about, right? And so it's like I enjoy that because I'll ask Jeff whatever I want, and sometimes I get way more than I expect, and sometimes it's like, yeah, that's exactly what I expected. You're not answering the question because you can't. So I don't know. Like I was hoping for a little bit more on the CBA stuff, but kind of the sentiment that there's a hope that they will keep the previous one until they actually hammer it out, and at least the ownership side of things wanting to start play. So feels like it's like, well, players, your move. And I don't know how I feel about that, right?
Like that makes sense though, because it's like if the original agreement was that this would stay in place until they reach an agreement, that only gets you so far. You can only kick that can down the road for so long before the players have to be like, okay, well, we're gonna strike. And like I would assume that as long as everyone's in good faith right now, that they're gonna keep on hammering it away even when the season starts. But drop a hat if they feel like the players feel like, okay, the league is just kind of steamrolling us or kind of like just placating us until whenever, like they're trying to wait us out. Yeah, they're gonna say strike at some point. And so I'm hoping that it is all in good faith and everyone is actually trying to get a deal done as soon as possible and not just kind of kicking the can down the road, because I don't want to see a strike. That would suck.
Right.
Yeah, I think I don't want to spend too much time on the strike. I think we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I know. Go ahead, Steve.
Can I say one thing on that? Like, I don't want to see a strike, right, for selfish reasons, but I don't want to see a strike because I don't want to see these guys have to go through the downsides of having to make that decision as players, right? Like, like to me, it's like I really hope this gets resolved because this is their livelihood, and seeing people not be able to do the things that bring in the money to keep themselves alive is really important.
Yeah, agreed. No, once again, thanks to Jeff. Always a pleasure. And I know that, him and a bunch of the other guys that we've had on the show the past few weeks will all be at the kit reveal Thursday. So as we mentioned, that's at the Roxy. And I think the doors open at 5. Event starts at 6. And you do need to get tickets in advance, but they are free. You just go to the Riverhound site and fill out the info and you'll be good to go. So the 3 of us will be there. I got my tickets. I'm going. So if you come up and say hello, we'll definitely say hi and have a chat. It'll be a good time. Guys, in terms of other news, there's lots of other things that are happening with the club. We had 2 more preseason games. We had a 2-1 win over Duquesne, where Trevor Amon got both of the goals in that game. Sounds like Brigham Larson continues to be involved in the attack as well. Mm-hmm. And then we had a 2-1 loss to Lexington at Highmark. The interesting bit about that for me was that Chico got the goal off of a long assist from keeper Nico Campizano, who we were talking about keeper distribution with Bushy and it being a thing. Here you literally have a goal in the preseason that comes directly from the keeper's foot. Steve, you were at both of the games. What did you see? What are your thoughts? What are your takeaways?
So I want to go back to you talking about Nico in that. That was a great play, but it was not his best play. In the second half in that game, he comes rushing out towards the top of the box, collects the ball, and feeds it on the ground from the top of the box around a defender to, I think at that point, it was one of the new trialist signings. But just like quick pace, like ball immediately back in play, not slowing thing down and moving it forward. And it was just like, oh, that's different. Like it's not just playing with the ball at your feet or faster distribution. It's like, we're building the attack immediately. We're not giving them a chance to step back and gather themselves on defense. So I think my take on the games overall is there's a lot of quality. And some of that quality needs to be integrated still. That there are, you still, I think, can see the difference between the guys that have played professionally and the guys that are going to probably be very good in the future, but need to learn the level of play at this stage of their early careers. And so that's not to say that every guy right out of college is not good enough to play. There are a few that I think are going to see a lot of time. And I think a lot of these guys will see time. But I think especially the Lexington game, you saw it. The first 60 plus minutes were really good. The Hounds dominated Lexington for that entire time. And then it was basically a line change. But those first 60 minutes, it's like, I'm looking at the guys that are on the field, and it's like any one of those guys could be in the starting day 11, right? Yeah. And so, and that's without Robbie, right? Like that's without Trevor Amon, right? Like, and so it's just like, there are other guys that I think without Jackson Walty, right? Like that are going to be integral in what we see this year that were not on the field, but it was a really strong lineup to start, which is different than I think what Rob has done in the past few preseason games, where he has purposely tried to put some of the guys that he expects to be in his mix every week with some of the guys that are going to be supporting. He put out a strong lineup. And then when he didn't have that strong lineup, Lexington scored 2, and they were both good goals. I mean, can you complain about the free kick? Go watch the highlight.
It was insane.
Ridiculous free kick. Like, and that's what Malloy does, right? Like, that's why they signed him. So,
yeah. No, I think one of the interesting things is every offseason, I think we get really excited about different players, and we start to think like the depth on this team is going to be really good. What is different this offseason is your point exactly. The depth that we are seeing is players that we already know are really good. So this isn't like taking a flyer and being like, well, Charles all looked really good in the preseason, but we know nothing about him. You're dropping names like a Robbie Mertz, like a Jackson Walt. We know who these guys are, and we know they can contribute at a championship level, and they're not on the field for a team that is dominating other teams that expect to be top teams in this league. Yeah. That's really, really good. Tony Rivera in the chat said Chico looked great. Sousa and Alal looked a bit off. Overall, the squad looked sharp. Thank you, Tony, for that. Josh, any kind of thoughts from just the preseason game? I know we got two more, but
2 more, yeah. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to make any of the preseason games. My first one was supposed to be on Saturday, and I got sick and had to stay home, which was pretty crappy. So was unfortunately missing the AGM, the Steel Army's AGM and all that. But from what I've heard, I mean, it looks great. And it's also just the fact that, like, talking about the depth, but also just talking about the trialists and the fact that the trialists seem to be like pretty much established at this point, to the point where the media notes that we got were actually had all the trialist names on them, which that's never happened. It's usually just trialist 1, trialist 2. Like, they don't list them. So the fact that we actually have them all named makes me think that they're probably pretty much done deals at this point. And if that's the case, like, we're looking at 25, 26 players signed, I think, or something like that. Like, I haven't counted all the way through, but we're there. Like, it feels like we're ready for the season. We're not like wondering about 1 or 2 more pieces before the season starts, and it's going to be, hitting it pretty close to the deadline, or like maybe we'll sign them a couple of weeks after the season starts, something like that. Like, we're done. We're there. So, like, this is great, and I'm just excited for it.
Yeah. To your point, so in the past, we tend to get media announcements at the beginning of every week of the preseason, and it'll list everybody that's signed, and it'll list trialists. And most of the time, it's just like trialist 1, like you said, trialist 1. This week, that document under trialists had all of the names and all of the positions of players. Steve, you said that, your intel is essentially that most of those deals are done. Like, it's just waiting for approval.
Yeah.
So the names that we have not heard, we're going to go back. There are 2 guys that were actually signed and announced. We will talk about them in a second.
Yeah.
But the names that we have not yet heard, we got 2 more keepers. So up to this point, the only one who's been on the roster in theory was Nico. We have Mitch Butler out of Akron. So, when we talked to when we talked to Rob, they said, no, there's some college guys still coming, because up to this point, it's been all kind of pros coming in. So Mitch Butler out of Akron, college guy, great. Mike Sheridan out of Philly Union 2, so out of the MLS program, cool. In midfielders, we have Aldi Flowers Gamboa, who was originally from Pittsburgh, but he played for Texoma FC last year. We have Israel Neto, who is a Brazilian. He played for Providence College, so another first-year pro. And we have Max Vieira, who's out of Georgetown, another first-year pro. That midfield is going to be super deep. How we get all these players in the field is going to be nuts. And then we have one other defender that is still under that trialist label, and that's Lassie Kelp. He's German, and he's out of the University of Maryland. So another first-year pro. So we will see. Steve, I know that you've been to the games. Are there any of those guys that you saw play that you would recognize the names because they jumped out in the play at all, or they all kind of blur together still?
No. Max Vieira is, I think he has the potential to be something really special.
Really?
Tends to play kind of as a wing back midfielder. And he will get a lot of time, right? Just objectively, we saw Barnes have some injuries last year. We saw Junior have some injuries last year. The 3 of them are the 3 strongest contenders for that position. We're going to see him. And what I've seen of him has been really strong. He was one of the players that people that were at the preseason games at Highmark were raving about in the Steel Army Discord. And we didn't know his name at that point, but now we do. So really, really excited about him. Israel Neto, he goes by Neto. Seems like he's got a lot of good talent. And if we're just making the connection, if we look at the last town to come out of Providence College, it's our captain, Danny Griffin. And so hey, if he can be part of what Danny Griffin is for the Hounds coming out of there, that's a high.
No pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, both keepers, I think they look like what you want to see from keepers competing for minutes. And I think they would both be competing for minutes. I don't think this is going to be like last year where there was a clear number 2 and a clear number 3. I think there's going to be some questions. Mitch has some talent and can do some things. Mike needs to work on his distribution, but he's a great shot stopper. And so they're going to get used in different games and get opportunities when those opportunities present themselves. So,
and just to clarify, we're not saying that all of these people have been signed. We're just kind of reading the tea leaves that the names are out there now. And like we said, based on Steve's info, we're kind of just waiting for the USL to approve these things, and they will likely happen. But if some of these names fall off, nothing's written in ink yet. So we're just kind of waiting for that. 2 guys that are in ink that we have heard from this week: Owen McCoy, who is a 6'5" defender from the University of Kentucky. So big dude, which is great. Another first-year pro. And then Sam Bassett, who is a midfielder who started with the Rapids 2 last year. So last year was his first pro season. Played with Rapids 2, and after only a month was called up to play in Rapids 1, and he made 15 appearances for the MLS team as a midfielder. So it sounds like, again, some depth, some experience. Just thoughts on, Josh, thoughts on those 2 signings.
I want to know how Sam Bassett came about. I'm really curious about, was that they saw the opportunity to get him and they snatched him up? Because that seems like a bigger signing than what I feel like we would have expected at this moment. With the pieces we already have in place, that feels like, oh, we can get Sam Bassett. Yeah, we should do that, because it seems like a pretty damn good signing for like this, stage in the game. So I'm excited for that one. Probably the most out of the ones that are announced recently. Granted, I have no idea as far as like, it's not like I have very much experience with any of these players or watching them play long term, but it's just out of like the pedigrees I'm seeing, that one surprised me the most, and I'm excited for.
15 appearances at the MLS level is nothing to balk at. Like, there's got to be some talent there to make that happen. So, yeah. Steve, thoughts on either of those guys?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Sam is a player that you take that chance on. He's got some professional experience, but he's 22 years old. So he's young, right? And so you're looking at a guy, maybe it's that the Rapids decided he is not going to be in our plans in the future. But when you've had that experience, like, bring that in. That's a maturing experience to be playing at that level, to bring in, not even as like a marquee signing, right? But like, hey, we've got an 18 already on the field, and you don't know the names of these players, but hey, there's this guy over here, Sam Bassett, that we're about to sign. And then, I mean, yeah, Owen is big. You can see some talent. You can see that he needs to work on. He's one of those guys that when I talk about, like, he needs to adjust to this level of play. But looks like he will make that adjustment. I think, like, he's paying attention. He's learning. He's getting better with his positioning, and having an option for a 6'5" defender when you need it late in a game and you just need big bodies is a really nice thing that we haven't seen much in the past. So,
yeah, I mean, I would have to guess. I don't have the stats in front of me. I don't think Beto and Guy are like giants. They're not 6'5", so like to be able to put in a big body. Yeah, especially on set plays and things like that. If you can pull another big body up and help them in the attack, that could be huge. So we will see how all of this shakes out. We essentially have 2 weeks before we actually kick off at Charleston. But we have a big week ahead of us this week, guys. Before we get into that, real quick, Josh, you mentioned the Steel Army AGM that you were sick for. You are clearly rocking the new scarf, which looks amazing. I love the
like an Argyle look to it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. What were the rumblings? I know you're no longer on the board. When we started, you were President Charles Brokaw, and now you're just a
Steel Army member.
What did we say the word was, Steve? Is it
emeritus?
Emeritus. Yeah. Josh
Merch
Brokaw.
guy emeritus.
Yeah. I mean, the AGM from all reports went great. I know, right before the AGM, I was still involved with everything as far as getting this membership package up and running. We have koozies as our second item, so you get a little koozie that kind of commemorates the championship win. So that's on there. And then the scarf this year is this design, but on the one side it says one goal, which is a little bit tongue in cheek because it's, we always say there's only one goal every season is to win the championship, but also we won the championship with one goal. So kind of like paying homage to that, the one goal there. So love that double meaning there. And yeah, it's already looking, and we heard this from Jeff, not in this interview, but in other ones I've heard him talk about how this season it's already looking like, as far as like season ticket holders and that kind of stuff, like a bigger season than they've ever had. They're seeing a lot more signups. They're seeing a lot more momentum. It's probably no small part because they won the championship. And, also the announcements and the idea that they could be going to D1. Like, there's a lot of momentum right now. And we're seeing that in Steel Army as well. Like, memberships were up as far as like pre-signing up for, shipping and for pickup. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, this is looking to be a pretty big season all around and an exciting one. So we're going to welcome all the bandwagon we can get. Nothing wrong with that. Please come one and all.
Well, now that you're not involved, like I've always relied on you for like numbers and like how's the sign up looking, all the insides. You're not going to have that anymore, right? Or do they
right? Because no one's going to talk to me anymore. Yeah, no one's going to tell me anything or Slack me information or anything. I'm sure I'm just going to be in the dark about everything.
Okay, all right. I had to ask. Come on.
I am looking forward to, not being responsible for things. So that's going to be nice. So we'll see how long I can stay away from, all that.
Yeah.
You're going to get roped into selling merch at some point this season.
You're sitting there. Why not? All right.
Josh, I was thinking about opening a Mongols merch store. Do you know someone that has experience with that?
Never. What's merch?
Yeah.
What's that short for?
Yeah. Well, guys, I mentioned there is a big week ahead. As we talked with Jeff about, the kit reveal is Thursday at the Roxy-Inn. It sounds like it's going to be a really good time. Like I said, get your tickets, get down there. It's going to be a blast. Then I don't know how they're going to do this. We talked about this a little bit. They're going to have the Roxy-Inn on Thursday. Then they have a home match against WVU on Friday. Then they have an air quotes away match at Pitt on Saturday. And then literally we'll get a week off. And we are right into the first game of the season on March 7th at Charleston Battery. So it will be interesting because I know that Rob, Steve, to your point, Rob has been trying to get more and more minutes under the guys' legs so that they're used to playing a full game. So whether or not we see with the bench that is deep as it is, it could be just two completely different lineups. So you literally, for WVU, you put out a group and you try to give them as close to a full 90 as you can. And then the following day, you try to do as much as a full 90 as you can because you don't want to burn anybody out a week before the opener. So it will be interesting to see how that all shakes out. Any thoughts, guys, on the week ahead? Any secret hopes, Josh, for what we might see at the Roxy-Inn?
Oh man, I am preparing myself to be. I know myself, and I know I'm going to be one of those, the other side of the fence when it comes to that weird one. I'm going to be the stick in the mud. Probably, I'm going to be the one that looks at it and be like, "That's stupid. I hate that." But I gotta remind myself. I kind of felt the same way about the bridge kit. Like when I saw that bridge kit, I was like, really? It looks like something that you would wear if you were like a bicyclist, doing the half marathon or something like that. Like it just didn't look like a soccer kit to me. So like I was very stick in the mud about that one. And apparently it sold really well. And like people loved it. So like preparing myself, one of the kits you're not gonna like, and that's okay. So, and I've also been told by multiple sources that there's no hoops at all. So gotta be okay with that as well. No hoops, and you're gonna have one weird kit. But I am actually still looking forward to it, and even the one I'm probably not gonna like, I'm still excited to see how weird it is. If for another reason, just to like, how goofy did they go? Let's see how much shenanigans they got into.
Yeah, Steve, anything you're looking forward to?
Well, I just want to kind of respond to that and Jeff's comments about it, because now I'm like, I have an inkling of what the fourth kit could look like not like an actual visual, but just like some descriptions about it. And I'm just like, it's not for me. And so I'm wondering, is that what Jeff was talking about? Are they going to show that one? Because I would expect, like, for a really special kit, you're not going to reveal that during the kit reveal. You're going to save that till later, right? And so does that mean I'm not going to like one of the other ones? That's just my worry.
I feel like there's going to be two you don't like. I feel like
that's what I'm worried about. Like, yeah.
The fourth kit, which is fine. I like, that's what third and fourth kits. I'm just worried that the kit we're not going to like is going to be the home kit again. That's what really upset me last time. Right. It was like, listen, if you're going to do a weird one, do that as your third kit, not as your home kit. Right. Like I want the home kit to be like a classic soccer kit.
Yep. So I am looking forward to a season though where we get to see all of the kits instead of that home kit just disappearing because a sponsor stopped paying. So they've apparently worked out those sponsorship deals going forward. So
I don't know if we ever talked about that on the air there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that'll be the thing that we'll see Thursday, right? Is in theory, if there are new sponsors, we will see those new sponsors, and that'll be revealed as part of the kit. Listen, regardless of what happens, it's my intention to come home with one of the kits because if for those who are watching this, the background of this is close-ups, different angles from the kits, and I feel like I have to update it with whatever is new. So if we were a taxable entity, I would use that as a write-off, but we're not, so I'm just going to pay for it. So we'll see. Maybe if you see us there and you're like, you have to get that one, like come make it be known, and maybe that's what we'll get. And we'll make it.
Mike's gonna hate it and buy it anyway because the fans tell him
well,
to.
I'm just like it's the people have spoken. So
I'm waiting. Talking to all of them. Don't worry about him. He's going to be going home with all of them.
I'm not going home with all of them.
Yeah, no. He's not.
No. No, I'm waiting for Yost to come and like bully me into one, and then I'll just be like, and it'll be the worst one because that's Yost.
It's gonna be the opposite. He's gonna see which one you're buying, and he's gonna make you feel bad about it. That's what Yost is. Like, you're getting that one? Really?
What?
Oh,
really? That's gonna look awful. What are you doing? Yeah. The whole way home, I'm gonna be like, was he right? I think he's probably right. No. Okay. All right. Well, guys, anything else for this one?
Nope.
We still have another podcast before the season starts, right? Okay, yeah.
Just one.
We'll get together next week. We'll talk about the kit reveal. I think I mentioned I am gonna bring the camera. We're gonna try to talk to some of the players while we're there. We'll see who else may be there. Whether or not we drop that content before the show on Sunday, I think that largely just depends on what kind of time I have. My oldest son is going to come home from school on Friday for spring break, and then there's a tournament in Latrobe on Saturday. So it's just, we'll see. Or we just might make it part of the show. Who knows? But yes, we will get together before we kick off at Charleston in like 2 weeks, which is insane. Less than 2 weeks. That's insane. Mm-hmm. But really looking forward to seeing some soccer back in Pittsburgh again. Yeah. It's time. So, yeah. Well, as always, a massive thanks to Jeff Garner for joining us. Mm-hmm. I think we learned a lot more, even though he was cagey about certain things, we learned a lot more about where things are with the stadium and how the team is progressing on that, rocket-like ascent that I mentioned in the intro. Always enjoy talking to him. And again, really grateful that we do have an organization that is willing to sit down and chat with us and share this information with all the fans. So massive thanks to him. Thank you guys, as always. I love getting together and just chatting on a Sunday night. And thank you, everybody who is watching and or listening. We do appreciate it. Appreciate all the comments that are happening live in the stream. Even if they don't make it onto the air, we do see them and we do chuckle about them and we do laugh. Some of them we put up, the one question we put up for Jeff. So if you are looking for something to do on a Sunday night at 7 p.m., consider dropping by and joining us live because it's always a good time. So lots going on this week. As we mentioned, if you can get to the kit reveal because it is going to be a good time. Otherwise, thanks, everybody. We'll be back with more Hounds and Riveters stuff for you very, very soon.
Later.
See ya.